Today, we're jumping into a really powerful chapter from James Allen's classic work, As a Man Thinketh. We're going to be talking all about the connection between what we think and what we actually achieve.
So let's start with a question that I think we've all bumped into. Why is it that our biggest, most exciting goals so often just stay as ideas? We have the vision, right? We have the desire, but for some reason, it just gets stuck in our heads. This is what we might call the achievement paradox, that big, frustrating gap between wanting to do something and actually, doing it.
So in this explainer, here's what we're going to do. We're going to unpack why achievement is actually a skill you can learn, not just some random stroke of luck. We'll look at that all-important shift from just passively wishing for things to actively building them. And then we're going to wrap up with a super simple practice you can use to get started, like today.
Okay, so first up is James Allen's core principle. He asks us to think about achievement in a totally different way. Instead of seeing it as something out there that we have to chase, he says we should see it as a structure, something we design and build inside our own minds first. It's like being a mental architect.
Allen calls this the thought factor, and the main idea here is pretty straightforward but also really profound. Everything we accomplish, and yet everything we fail at, isn't an accident. It's the direct outcome of our own thoughts. This totally puts the power and the responsibility right back in our hands. Our thoughts are the cause, the achievement is just the effect.
And this next idea really drives the point home. We don't get what we casually wish for. What we attract into our lives is a reflection of who we are deep down, the total sum of our most dominant everyday thoughts. Our circumstances are basically a mirror of our character, not just our passing wants.
And that leads to this really key distinction. On one side, you have wishing. It's totally passive, right? It's just hoping, dreaming, fantasizing. But on the other side, you have building. And building is an active process. It takes planning. It takes directing your thoughts with purpose. And, as Allen points out, it takes sacrifice. To build something great, you have to be willing to trade those small, easy impulses for a much higher goal.
So the big question is, how do we actually develop this builder's mindset? Well, Allen's idea isn't something he just invented. It's actually a timeless truth that you see echoed throughout history, in ancient philosophy, and now it's even being backed up by modern science. It's like we're assembling a mosaic of wisdom here to see the complete picture.
If you go back thousands of years to Aristotle, he had this concept called hexis. He basically taught that excellence isn't just one single act, it's a habit. We become builders by the act of building. Character isn't something we're born with. It's an active state that we have to maintain through repeated, consistent action.
Then you have the Stoics, who took this idea even further. They focused on building what they call the inner citadel. This is the deep understanding that the only thing we truly have power over is our own mind, not all the crazy events happening outside of us. And that, right there, is the source of all our strength. When you master your thoughts, you build this inner fortress that nothing can shake.
And now, fast forward to today, and modern science has a term for this kind of focused work, deliberate practice. The key here is that it's not just about mindlessly repeating something. It's about targeted, super-focused effort that's designed to zero in on your specific weaknesses and improve them. It's that purposeful thought that turns a beginner into an expert.
And this brings us to a huge part of the builder's mindset. Allen knew that to really take control of your thoughts, you first have to face down doubt and fear. Because in this way of thinking, failure isn't the end of the road. It's not a final judgment. It's just feedback. It's data telling you where you need to adjust your plans and make a correction.
Probably the most powerful modern idea that lines up with Allen's work is this concept of identity-based habits. Real, lasting change happens when we stop focusing on the outcome we want and instead focus on the person we want to become. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you are.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does this mental architecture actually look like day to day? Let's check out a few real-world blueprints to see how this framework actually works.
So think about your career. Instead of just vaguely working hard, you use deliberate practice on one specific key skill that will make the biggest difference. Or in relationships, you don't just wish you were a more caring partner, you actively become one by choosing gentle thoughts and taking kind actions again and again. And with habits, you prove your new identity as a healthy person, not by overhauling your life, but with one tiny, manageable choice every day. Those small wins are what build momentum. All right, let's make this super practical.
I want to walk you through a simple exercise you can do right now to put all this into practice. It's a quick way to reset your whole approach to a goal, and just remember, correction is always better than trying to be perfect.
Okay, it's called the Achievement Reset. It's just 3 steps. Step 1, define the identity. Don't ask, what do I want? Ask, who do I want to be? For example, I'm a person who writes every day. Step 2, choose one super small win. A tiny action that proves that identity. Not write a chapter, but write 1 sentence. It has to be so easy you can't say no. And step 3, create an if-then plan to make it automatic. Like, if I finish my morning coffee, then I will write 1 sentence. That little rule removes all the guesswork.
So let's pull all these threads together. What's the one big idea you should walk away with from all this?
It's this. Achievement is never an accident. It's a deliberate construction. It's a structure that you yourself build, piece by piece, with the tools of focused thought, consistent practice, and a really clear sense of identity. You truly have the ability to take those wavering, random thoughts and shape them into a powerful, creative force.
And that really just leaves us with one final and most important question, the one that only you can answer. What are you going to build with your thoughts?
In our next episode, we're going to keep exploring these ideas and talk about the role of visions and ideals in all of this. If you want to see the whole series, you can find the full As a Man Thinketh playlist right on our channel. Thanks for watching.